The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, before I start this video, I wanted to give a couple of shout outs. First and foremost, I want to shout out my main man, Shower G, who commented on my reaction video of me at the fight. He said, please do a longer video on Saunders Canelo. I want to hear your thoughts on this, BT, because the video is only 2 minutes, right? So shout out to him because he's the reason I'm making this video. And also shout out to my main man, 50 grand out there in the UK, Aaron Rose. He's a loyal subscriber and watcher of the channel. I really appreciate his comments and everything he says to me on my videos. So Aaron, hope you're doing good. I promise you a shout out. There it is, champ. Now, I would have made this video earlier last night, guys, but I ate some nachos at Cowboy Stadium, and I've been feeling down. I haven't been feeling good like pretty much since the middle of the card last night to now. But I'm good enough now to make this video. So this video here is going to be my, I guess, recap synopsis of how I saw Billy Joe Saunders versus Canelo. Because when I was at the arena last night, from my vantage point, it looked like Billy Joe Saunders had quit in the fight, but then they said he broke his orbital bone. Now I don't know what's going on with the UK. I don't know what they're putting in the water over there, but there seems to be a common theme with these British fighters. First with Kell Brook, now with Daniel Dubois, and it was up to the trainer's discretion to allow Billy Joe to continue or not continue. He decided to not allow him to continue, and it's a shame because I haven't rewatched the fight yet, but I had the fight pretty close. I actually had it 4 rounds apiece after 8 rounds. I know some people had it. I could see 5-3 for Canelo, or vice versa. But it was a good fight. It was a good display of high level boxing from both fighters, and I'm gonna give Canelo some credit here because I thought Canelo fought a wonderful fight. Canelo Alvarez doesn't have the fastest feet in the world, but he knows how to just be useful with his movement and closing that gap and cutting that ring off, and that's what he was doing. Billy Joe Saunders was getting on his toes, boxing, moving, slipping, sliding, and Canelo Alvarez would just be slowly shuffling his feet, coming forward, closing that gap. And anytime Billy Joe got caught, anytime he closed that gap, he exploded. With a straight right hand to the body, sometimes left hook to the body. Early in the fight, he was throwing a lot of uppercuts, and they were missing. And then eventually, he found the uppercut, which will ultimately broke Billy Joe's orbital bone at the end of the fight. But I think listen, you guys know I don't like Canelo. The whole thing with him and Demetrius Andrade happened, which I'm gonna do a video on. We're gonna really camp out on that because that was just ridiculous what happened with him and Demetrius Andrade after the fight at the press conference. But with Canelo, right, he is one of the best fighters in boxing at the moment. He is. I gotta give him that much. He's one of the best fighters in the world right now. And he fought. And last night he fought a guy that many people, myself included, were saying that had some things in his style that could give him some problems, and they did. There were many times in this fight where Canelo Alvarez was swinging at air. He was shadow boxing. Billy Joe Saunders' slickness, his head movement, and his footwork were causing Canelo some serious problems. And Canelo Alvarez had to show in this fight that extra bit of quality to get this guy out of there, and he did. And you know what? Look, I was there. It was a crazy atmosphere. 73,000 people. It was so loud in there, I got a damn headache. It was that damn loud in there. It was one big Cinco de Mayo celebration, Mexican flags everywhere. It was a great raucous atmosphere for Canelo Alvarez. And sometimes when you're the favorite and you have that many people coming to see you fight, yes, it can lift you. Yes, it can make you fight better and fight harder. But there's always that pressure to deliver a fantastic performance. And credit to Canelo, he delivered a fantastic performance. The paying customers, the lion's share of the paying customers were left very satisfied. And as a fighter at that level of boxing, that's all you want. You want to deliver great performances and satisfy your fan base. And that's what Canelo did. So he's now got WBO title. He's looking at fighting Caleb Plant next. And I'll be honest with you guys, and I'm gonna actually agree with my boy Sean Tatel. I did an interview with my friend Sean Tatel, Fight Hype, one of the best in the business when it comes to interviews. Sean Tatel said in my interview with him before the fight, he stated that he believes that Billy Joe Saunders, or Caleb Plant, I should say, Caleb Plant will put up a better performance than Billy Joe Saunders. And I think he will. I really think he will, man, because, look, I don't want to call him as disrespectful to the Brits because I do love the Brits. I love the UK. I have a lot of UK subscribers. I have a special place in my heart for the UK subscribers. But I gotta call a spade a spade. Whenever the Brits come to America, whether it's to fight an American fighter or a British fighter, I'm not saying all the Brits, but it seems like the majority of the Brits, they always lack that extra bit of grit, determination, and tenacity. Now, people are going to say, BT, are you just some bloodthirsty, hound? You want to see Billy Joe Saunders get his life ended because of Canelo Alvarez? No, I don't. I don't want to see any of that for any fighter. But let's be real. This is the biggest stage Billy Joe Saunders will ever fight on. He talked all this shit about how he was going to do this. He had a lot to say about Daniel Dubois when he quit against Joe Joyce. So I really feel like Mark Tibbs, his trainer, they should have found the way. A true champion can adapt to any situation, and a true champion would have found the way to get to at least get through that fight. I'm not saying you gotta win the fight, but at least get through it. Like, for example, Chris Algieri, a friend of the channel, fantastic fighter. He'll be returning soon in July on Triller. He had that fight with Ruslan Provodnikov, and Provodnikov was beating him pillar to post. He had his orbital bone broken. He had swung on his eyes. He even said himself after that fight he had double vision in both of his eyes, or at least out of his left eye, for about a month. But you know what? Chris Algieri showed that extra bit of grit, determination, and just will to get through the fight and give himself a chance to win. And I feel like with Billy Joe and Mark Tibbs, they probably wouldn't have gotten a decision. Fair enough, because he was down the scorecards. But at least they could have, held their heads all the way high and said, you know what, hey, we didn't get the decision, but we gutted it out. We bit down on our mouthpiece and we showed the world what our character was like. But no, the minute Billy Joe Saunders got his orbital bone broken, got his shit pushed back, Mark Tibbs said, I'm out of here. So you can say he lives to fight another day, but then my counter to that would be, okay, he's gonna live to fight for another day, but there will never be a day. And I repeat to you, from this point forward, there will never be another day, another occasion, another fight in the career of Billy Joe Saunders bigger than this one. And Mark Tibbs pissed the bed. He let his fighter down, in my opinion. I understand you gotta protect the fighter, but this wasn't like the Canelo Smith fight, because for those of you who watched my Canelo Smith post-fight review video, you might say, well, BT, you were the same guy that was saying that Joe Gallagher should have pulled Canelo Smith out of this fight when he fought Canelo. Yeah, because Canelo Smith didn't win any rounds. He didn't win 5 seconds of any rounds, so that's different. Billy Joe Saunders was giving Canelo some stylistic problems, and he could have. You just never know in boxing. I think Canelo would have beat him because Canelo was getting better. He was showing his strength as the fight went on, but you just never know. And it's unfortunate because Billy Joe Saunders did make Canelo look vulnerable. It's the first time probably since the Golovkin fight where we've seen any sort of vulnerabilities from Canelo Alvarez, because look at the run of fights he's had since the Golovkin fight with Jacobs and Kovalev and Smith, Yildirim, now Saunders. Saunders was the only guy that was effective with both hands, because Kovalev was good against Canelo, but he was really only doing his work with the jab. Billy Joe was landing some nice catching counters. He was making Canelo miss. He's making Canelo have to really think in there and really be patient with what he was doing. And it's unfortunate, man. It's really unfortunate. And Billy Joe Saunders, to me, like, look, I had high hopes for him in this fight that he would at least go this distance. It didn't happen. And at this point, I don't know what's next for Billy Joe, but it's clear to me that at 168 he's just not the fighter he was at 160. It looked that way coming into the fight. In his previous fights with Isufi and Martin Murray and the guy on the Logan Paul KSI undercard, and this is probably the best performance he had at 168. And because of the way the fight ended, he left a lot to be desired. But look. Billy Joe Saunders has given some fighters the blueprint on how to beat Canelo. There's some positives you can take from this fight if you're someone that's looking at fighting Canelo in the future. Is there were points in this fight where Billy Joe would tie up Canelo and literally walk him back to the other side of the ring. It happened on a couple of occasions. So physically, as explosive as Canelo is, in terms of physical strength, if you're a bigger natural super middleweight, you can impose your will and size on him. Billy Joe showed that in pockets of the fight. You know what I'm saying? But, Canelo Alvarez, shout out to him. He delivered a great performance. They're looking at the Caleb Plant fight next. And, I thought he did very good. I thought Canelo, from his perspective, I spoke from the Billy Joe side of things. I want to speak from the Canelo side of things now. From the Canelo side of things, Canelo, I think I'm not going to say he gave away some of those rounds early on because I think Billy Joe was doing some good work. But I think a lot of the rounds, half the rounds that Billy Joe won, I gave Billy Joe 4 rounds. So I'm going to say at least 2 of those rounds that Billy Joe won, Canelo was just using those rounds to figure out his timing, tendencies, how he reacts to punches. And then once he figured it out, he started closing that gap. He started throwing the jab. He started using different types of feints to keep Billy Joe off balance. And when he hurt him, the key thing is when Canelo hurt Billy Joe Saunders, he got Billy Joe to start reacting to a lot of those feints, and that's what allowed him to have all that success in the 8th round. And, the way it was going, who knows? Maybe Canelo might have got him out of there in the 9th round. We'll see, man. But, it got to a point in that fight. There was a good 2 or 3 round stretch where it got to a point where Billy Joe was slipping, sliding, getting some confidence in the fight. Canelo Alvarez was trying to knock him out. He was loading up on a lot of shots. And, it put Canelo Alvarez, it made Canelo Alvarez look vulnerable. So, hey, people want to call him pound for pound king and say that he's on his own island and nobody can beat him. I respectfully disagree. I think Billy Joe exposed some chinks in the armor. But when you look at Canelo Alvarez and the way he's, I don't want to say maturing, but I guess the way he's approaching breaking these guys down, it is something to watch. It is something to watch. Like the last fight with Canelo Smith, he targeted the arm, he broke his arm. This fight, it was more about just being patient, being poised, and really just getting a gauge of what Billy Joe Saunders' punch selection was, and he did that. And shout out to him, So that's my little synopsis of the fight, my unbiased synopsis of the fight, because as you guys can see, I didn't disrespect Canelo in this video. I can't say the same for the video that I'll make after this, but you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. What did you make of Canelo Alvarez's performance? And tell me what your scorecard was after the 8th round was completed. I had it 4 rounds apiece, and I thought it was really anybody's fight to win going down the stretch. I thought Billy Joe Saunders was hanging with Canelo punch for punch, but I could see 5-3 for Canelo, even 6-2 for Canelo, depending on what you were scoring more on. If you're someone who was looking for more of the aggressive shots, then I could see how someone could score at 6-2, 5-3, or 5-3 for Billy Joe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just kidding. Dang it. So until next time, take care, guys.